Thank you. My purpose today is not to dazzle you with my oratorical brilliance and skills. I merely want to say that I came to the 37th Circuit Family Court to make a difference. I was well qualified and hoped to be able to help Michigan families of divorce and separation, but early on I realized that the system was not designed to be child-friendly. No friendship nor honest conciliation were ever allowed in the family justice system between caseworkers and clients. It was all about money. How to get the federal and state tax dollars that were allotted each case for enforcement. In fact, our director would say regularly, "We aren't the friend of the family, we're the friend of the court." We stumbled over ourselves trying to get more Title 4D cases on our records and to increase the child support orders because the federal government granted huge allotments for each case we enforced. In the years I worked in the system, I witnessed regular deception to clients that was mandated by office policy. I saw gender bias and discrimination. I saw records destroyed. I saw office policies and rules change from week to week for the profit of the agency. I saw hundreds of pleas for parenting time or enforcement get buried because there is no money in enforcing custody or visitation issues. Increasing the child support money that came into our offices was the goal for each of us. We were rated according to how much money we brought in through asset seizures, income garnishment, court hearings, warrant issue. We wrote the orders and then we enforced them. The judge merely rubber stamped our efforts. My director proudly told me that the Child Support Enforcement Agency was the darling of the circuit court and that we actually made money for the judge and the court. Unlike the Sheriff's Department and so many others, our county or state was not an exception to the rule. We were one of the most successful counties and we shared training with other counties and states so they could learn how to maximize their efforts toward increased collection. We were not only told to withhold information, forms, policies, laws, and statutes from our clients with questions, but we were forbidden to help them obtain legal relief from unfair situations beyond their control. We were instructed to quickly help those who were demanding increases in child support, but we were threatened with losing our jobs if we should breathe a word to encourage an injured or unemployed payer to petition for a reduction of any kind. For the years that I worked in the system, I put my job on the line whenever I helped any of the parties in trouble. We were not to get personally involved. The children or parents, we had nothing to do with that. I was derisively accused of wasting my time being a social worker. We worked closely with Child Protective Services and Family Independence Agencies, and they were the same way. No one wanted to improve services or hear about abuses within the system because every worker in these huge bureaucracies was trying to keep his or her job by covering up any errors or problems. I had 6 secretaries underneath me, unlimited power in my 401k and my office to lose if I should rock the boat. But rock the boat I did when I wrote the book Friend of the Court, Enemy of the Family. Families that were bleeding from the pain of divorce and separation were insulted, tricked, lied to, and deceived by persons without adequate training to be making those kind of judgment calls. Most of the custody determinations were made by unwed, childless individuals who were totally unqualified to hold the lives of so many in their hands. The determinations were made on the basis of the most child support that could be ordered for each case. Fathers or non-custodial parents were stereotyped as payers only. The court and most caseworkers felt that fathers were unnecessary and possibly dangerous for the children to have contact with. The child support system is an adversarial system. It encourages parental alienation and court battles. Children are pawns in an expensive and elaborate game of winner versus loser. Attorneys coming into the picture further divide the already fractured family and insulate the parents from communicating with each other. Usually after attorneys and agencies become involved, new and creative charges of abuse, neglect, and addiction enter the picture. Many times these are convenient charges against innocent family members guilty of ignorance even after the partner left. I heard many unwed fathers tell me that they begged the mothers of their children to marry them, but that the mothers were unwilling to give up the welfare check in exchange for a husband and father in the home. The most outdated picture of the father leaving the mom and kids to run off with his secretary is all but a thing of the past. In Southwest Michigan, 98% of the divorces are initiated by mothers and unwanted by the father. These aren't abusive fathers either. Equal parenting is not a men's issue. I was a single mother for most of my children's lives, and I know what children need most is the love and balance two fit parents can give them. Money can never make up for the loss of a parent. Divorce or separation should not be the reason some kids will never get to know one important part of themselves. Equal parenting does not do away with child support. Child support takes on a whole new dimension for children with two loving parents instead of just one. I am humble as I stand in the shadows of one of our greatest founding fathers. Here in this place, another great father, Martin Luther King, announced to the world that he had a dream. Well, Mahatma Gandhi told us that we must be the change that we want to see in the world. Are you willing to be that kind of change? Thomas Jefferson said that we only have the rights we're willing to fight for. Our Constitution gives all the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But for some children, the right to have two loving and involved parents in their lives has been usurped by the courts. Courts rule according to precedent, and the precedent has been biased against one parent in the past, branding him or her the non-custodial parent, which in itself is an insult. Equal parenting by two fit and willing parents.
The money that's paid to the children or collected for the children as child support money are matched by the federal government, and then there are incentives for different types of enforcement activities, and there are matching funds at state and local levels as well. And so the judges, each time that they grant or approve, or the friend of the court up someone's child support collection, they're actually padding their own pockets, because that comes back to them. It indirectly will come back. And I saw so many things that, as you and I probably already know, were blatant violations of the law, of our constitutional rights as parents. And yet there is no system of checks and balances to keep this from happening, and so it continues to happen. I saw creative bookkeeping where with computers you could go through and an individual would have an arrearage, a back amount that they owed in child support, perhaps of $3,000 or $4,000 one day, and 2 or 3 days later, actually overnight.
My belief, the purpose of the federal government and the state government's job, what they are trying to do is create a new form of slavery or institute a new state of peonage, and they're using non-custodial parents to do this. They're using non-attorneys to create cases by which the state of Virginia and other states can obtain federal incentive monies under the Title IV welfare program. Their purpose is to divide families and promote divorce, because it brings in over $500 million to the state of Virginia, and they obtain millions of dollars in federal incentive payments based on the number of cases that they can create. Too often, fathers who cannot pay wildly inflated income assessments by judges, or the administratively applied compounded interest and penalties tacked on by child support enforcement agencies without any regard to what the facts of the case are, they're jailed. Too many fathers are being jailed. Often defamed as deadbeat dads, this class of citizens whose civil rights are repeatedly gang raped in the courts of our country are in truth often dead broke dads or heartbroken fathers. Apparently for the past 10 to 15 years, non-attorneys, receptionists, clerks, janitors, we don't even know who these people are, have been completing legal pleadings to establish child support orders in a court of law without having any statutory authority to do so. These non-attorneys are walking into courtrooms and telling judges, testifying without being under oath, Your Honor, this man needs to be sentenced to jail. He didn't pay his full child support. And we've seen men walk into these courtrooms with certified receipts proving that child support payments have been made.
according to how much money we brought in through asset seizures, income garnishment.
Lamont Grant paid $15,000 in child support to DCSC over the last 12 months. The custodial mom, who he has a good relationship with, hasn't received a dime. Where is that money?
This is a system of taking children away from their fathers and then using the children as an excuse to plunder the fathers. It is a massive system of child exploitation that cynically uses children to loot their families, to loot their fathers, to destroy their homes.
The Dred Scott decision was about the fugitive state law, and in America today, if a father leaves one state due to the oppressive slavery of an excessive child support burden, it becomes a federal crime, and he's arrested in the other state and extradited for trial in the former state for a return to jail and servitude, or even excessive child support fines and additional fees. Debtors' prisons and slavery have been abolished in America for over a century, except for one remaining class of slaves, the non-custodial parents. In our country, 95% of the non-custodial parents are men.
Our agency has no rights to custody and visitation. We don't deal with those issues. We deal with child support issues alone.
Ms. Brown may say that she's not part of this, but this is, of course, the bureaucrat's plea. We didn't take away your children. The office down the hall took away your children. Then the next office takes your bank account, the next office takes your savings, and the next office along, they take you.
Said judges whose erroneous biases are leading us to dissolution should be removed from the bench. It may injure them in fame or fortune, but it will save our republic. I think this nation is in a complete state of crisis, and I truly feel in my heart that we're close to a civil war.
Where are the leaders of the land? Where are the swells who run this show? Only one man, and that's Lamont, speaks for the people here below.
See our children pray, help us in our shame. Something for our cause of pain. Oh, the Jesus name, Jesus knows how to get. It is great, it is great, it is great.
Lamont is ill and breathing fast, won't last a week out, so they say. With all the anger in the land, how long before the judgment day? Before we cut the fat ones down to size. Before the barricades are on.